Tonight, we're talking about understanding the stages of grief. Grief is heavy and it's super hard to navigate, especially if it's something you haven't experienced a lot in your life. A heavy, big grief type event can really knock you off your rocker. Or maybe you've experienced way too much grief in your life and it just starts to feel like you can't climb out of that. There are actually specific stages of how we grieve that psychologists have identified, and knowing what those stages are may help you along your journey. The first stage is acceptance or denial, right? You don't even want to believe. It's a shield against the overwhelming reality of what's happening. It's just impossible. I've been stuck here a lot of my life for big life events, right? I just want to keep going. Everything's fine. No problems here. Nothing to see, and that has been to my detriment and the detriment of those I love. It's not always okay. There's often plenty to see. And so I think it has become almost impossible in this world today to talk about freely, openly, and without shame the real grief that we all carry. And I want to change that because the only way it's going to get better is if we do talk about it. Horrible things happen, difficult challenges arise. What I do know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, is that grief is not assigned by worth. Some of the most amazing, beautiful, light people I have ever known in my life have experienced the kind of loss that would take our breaths away. And some of the most evil, crazy people I've met are wildly successful and appear to have everything together. It's not like that. It's just grief. And there's no schedule for it. There's no time for it. There's no justification for it. It does not happen for a reason. Okay. Remember, I also believe strongly that everything does not happen for a reason. A lot of bad stuff happens that I'm not going to say, oh, well, there's a silver lining. Nope, no silver lining. Bad stuff just happens. Grief happens. So when we're in denial, why is that bad? It's because we can't do a damn thing about it. As long as we're not admitting it's real, we're not addressing it. So that's why moving through denial is so important and into anger. Once you start to accept what's going on, you should be pissed off. I mean, pissed off, right? Like so angry. Like somebody that you love is breathing next to you and you can't believe how annoying it is, angry because your every nerve is at an end. And it's because you're angry, not just about your grief, but about what that grief symbolizes, the shifts in your life, the loss of your loved one or the thing that you loved or the life that you imagined for yourself. If you take a minute right now and look at your life, does it look anything like what you expected? Because mine does not. In in many, many ways, mine does not, right? It's not what I dreamed would happen in my life. I'm grateful nevertheless for every single day, but I carry grief with me, right? And so I used to be really angry about that. Then you get into bargaining, right? Like, how is this really happening? What is the real meaning here? What am I trying to figure out from this? How do I move forward from this? Then you move into depression. I've spent some good time in that chair for a while. Medication was super helpful for me. So if you've ever explored or thought that you might need support through medication, I don't think there should be any shame around that. To me, depression is a disease like any other. And it can be treated just like any other. I now have so many great oily tools and detox tools that I will leverage them at a second's notice of feeling down. But when I needed that medication years ago, I was really grateful I had it. Depression is nothing to play around with. It's nothing to think you can walk off. It's really important to get professional help. If you truly feel depressed, that is a red flag for all of our healths, right? I help you take control of your health. And if you're depressed, that's step one. Let's get you support. And then last but not least is acceptance. And acceptance does not mean that you forgive everything. Acceptance does not mean that, you know, it just is what it is. You may still be fighting every day to make things better, to make amends, to try to correct a relationship, repair a relationship, recover from a loss. Acceptance simply means you understand that you are not able to change anything about the situation. And I have gotten to a couple of really important acceptance points in my life because I know where I'm coming from, right? I'm working to come from a place of love and acceptance for everyone involved. Radical love and acceptance. And when other people make choices, you just have to respect it. It's their choice to make. When someone is lost from some horrible accident or disease, there's nothing, right? There's nothing we can do to change that. We just have to accept that that is so. It doesn't mean we go, oh, it's not a big deal. Maybe your life then becomes about that. You do walks and fundraisers and support, right? There are many ways to manage each of these stages. But if you feel like you're stuck in a stage, that's why I want you to know. Like if you're just like, I walk around like a time bomb, I am angry all the time. You need to move on to the next stage and get support to do that, right? Each of these stages is so well documented. And that being said, there's still no rules to grief. So if you think to yourself, well, first I was depressed and then I started bargaining and then I got really angry, I buy that too. Whatever you're going through, if you're dealing with grief or a loved one is, I want you to know that there's a lot of support out there. I use a bunch of natural options, also therapy. You can use tons of options. You are not alone. And there are lots of tools out there. A lot of people may be feeling a lot of pressure and depression from the world right now, too. So these stages will hopefully help you move through some of that a little bit faster. But the bottom line is, we are so grateful that you are here and we need you every day. And grief, while it can be really hard, is a part of all of our lives at some point. So I love you. I can't wait to see you back here tomorrow live about 5. And I hope you have an amazing night.